From the Gateway Pundit by Jim Hoft, published April 6, 2020. Must read. Fired and disgraced former ICIG Atkinson left behind a trail of lies and corruption. On Friday, President Trump announced that he was firing ICIG Atkinson because he could no longer be trusted. The president had lost all confidence in Atkinson. Here is the president's letter to the U.S. Senate announcing the move. Dear Chairman Burr and Vice Chairman Warner, this is to advise you that I am exercising my power as President to remove from office the Inspector General of the Intelligence Community, effective 30 days from today. It is extremely important that we promote the economy, efficiency, and effectiveness of federal programs and activities. The Inspectors General have a critical role in the achievement of these goals. As is the case with regard to other positions where I, as President, have the power of appointment, by and with the advice and consent of the Senate, it is vital that I have the fullest confidence in the appointees serving as Inspectors General. That is no longer the case with regard to this Inspector General. At a later date, I will be submitting to the Senate my nomination of an individual for this position who has my full confidence and who meets the appropriate qualifications. Atkinson was identified in the most recent FISA abuse report by the DOJ Inspector General Horowitz as one of the individuals who was involved in FISA abuse, which provides President Trump cover for firing Atkinson. Quote, the recent IG report that outlines Atkinson's gross incompetence in the FISA scandal vis-a-vis the 42 DOJ NSD accuracy reviews, it is the atomic shield against the political narrative. But corrupt politicians, like lying Adam Schiff, who pushed forward the unconstitutional and criminal impeachment of President Trump, are up in arms about the president's actions. Schiff says, Trump's dead-of-night decision to fire ICIG Michael Atkinson is another blatant attempt to gut the independence of the intelligence community and retaliate against those who dare to expose presidential wrongdoing. It puts our country and national security at even greater risk. End quote. Schiff should be scared. His actions related to President Trump's impeachment were corrupt and horrendous. Schiff ran with a story published by a whistleblower that was likely put together by deep state attorney Mary McCord, fired ICIG Atkinson's former boss. Quote, prior to becoming IC Inspector General, Michael Atkinson was the acting Deputy Assistant Attorney General and Senior Counsel to the Assistant Attorney General of the National Security Division, Mary McCord. It is very safe to say Mary McCord and Michael Atkinson have a working relationship from their time together in 2016 and 2017 at the DOJ NSD. Atkinson was Mary McCord's senior legal counsel, essentially her lawyer. McCord was the senior intelligence officer who accompanied Sally Yates to the White House in 2017 to confront then White House counsel Don McGahn about the issues with National Security Advisor Michael Flynn and the drummed-up controversy over the Russian ambassador Sergei Kislyak phone call. Additionally, Mary McCord, Sally Yates, and Michael Atkinson worked together to promote the narrative around the incoming Trump administration Logan Act violations. This silly claim undermining Obama policy during the transition was heavily promoted, albeit manufactured, reason why Yates and McCord were presumably concerned about Flynn's contact with Russian ambassador Sergei Kislyak. It was nonsense. End quote. McCord and Atkinson were involved also in the bogus FISA warrants recently investigated by the DOJ IG. We also know that two lovebirds who worked for Atkinson during this time were involved in doctoring the DOJ FISA warrant obtained to spy on candidate and President Trump. The individual or individuals were soon identified as Kevin Kleinsmith, who worked with his reported lover, Sally Moyer. We reported previously that Atkinson took the ICIG position after working for McCord at the DOJ. McCord, on the other hand, had found a position working for lying Adam Schiff. We then reported that Atkinson changed the IC whistleblower form in 2019 shortly after a CIA agent who was spying in the Trump White House drafted a complaint on President Trump. Atkinson saw to it that the whistleblower form was updated to allow for second-hand information, which the whistleblower, believed to be Eric Charamella, provided in this complaint. Although the form should not have been accepted based on second-hand information and because it was about the President of the United States, who is not a member of the intelligence community, Atkinson accepted the complaint. Margot Cleveland at The Federalist notes that following up about the timing when Atkinson changed the form and requirements that complaints be based on first-hand information. Quote, As Davis noted, the revised form was uploaded on September 24, 2019 at 4:25 p.m., just days before the anti-Trump complaint was declassified and released to the public. The markings on the document state that it was revised in August 2019, but no specific date of revision is disclosed, and the whistleblower's complaint was dated August 12, 2019. It is unclear whether the whistleblower submitted a form with his 9-page dossier, and if so, what form, as none was declassified. One suggestion that a form was submitted is the OIG's summary of the complaint. Quote, according to the ICIG, statements made by the president during the call could be viewed as soliciting a foreign campaign contribution in violation of the campaign finance laws. End quote. Yet nothing in the whistleblower's complaint mentioned potential foreign campaign contributions. Was that the ICIG's gloss of the complaint, or was that the summary the whistleblower used on the form? Frankly, it does not matter which, if any, form the whistleblower used. What matters is whether the ICIG changed its position on accepting complaints under the ICWPA. If, prior to this change against Trump, the ICIG refused to accept complaints based on secondhand information, but altered its procedure to trigger the ICWPA for the president, that is a huge scandal and implicates many besides the so-called whistleblower. While the whistleblower plot to manipulate the ICWPA is obvious from the complaint, and so is his inaccurate partial quote from the statutory definition of urgent concern, the change in the form suggests complicity in the ICIG's office. The Director of National Intelligence, who oversees the ICIG, should immediately investigate the investigator and determine whether or not there was a change in policy, when it occurred, why it occurred, and who initiated the change. President Trump spoke about Atkinson over the weekend, and he said that the White House offered to provide copy of the discussion the president had with the newly elected president of Ukraine, which was the object of the whistleblower's complaint, but instead Atkinson went to Congress with the application. The whistleblower attempted to edit the form he originally provided. The original form stated that the whistleblower did not talk to Congress before filing the form, but after it was discovered that he had met with Adam Schiff's team in Congress, the whistleblower attempted to edit his form. President Trump, in his comments over the weekend, questions what about the leaker who was on the call and who provided the whistleblower with the bogus story about President Trump. President Trump also asks what happened to the second whistleblower who was discussed right before the president released the transcript of the call with Ukraine. Why did Atkinson not bring this individual forward? The president indicates that the second whistleblower could be the corrupt and dishonest Adam Schiff. Representative John Ratcliffe discussed this to the House impeachment sham, but the Democrats ran ahead with their unconstitutional act anyway. The most repulsive action by the Democrats and the deep state is withholding ICIG Atkinson's testimony in the House basement during the Schiff impeachment sham. This testimony is reportedly damning and will exonerate President Trump while highlighting the criminal activities of Schiff, Ciaramella, Atkinson, McCord, and other crooks in the deep state. The conservative Treehouse noted that the president has recommended Ratcliffe for the ODNI role, but corrupt Republican Senator Burr won't take this up in the Senate. Quote, Intelligence Committee member John Ratcliffe has been nominated for the permanent ODNI role, but his nomination has not been taken up by the corrupt Senate Select Committee on Intelligence, Chairman Richard Burr. Ironically, Senator Burr is now under investigation for insider trading related to his divestiture of Wall Street investments prior to the financial collapse due to the coronavirus pandemic. Former ICIG Atkinson's wife is even connected to the deep state, as she was connected to Fusion GPS and Mary Jacoby, the wife of one of its founders. It is very clear that former ICIG Atkinson is involved in some of the most corrupt actions in U.S. history. He should have been fired. He should also be prosecuted for his actions to remove the President of the United States from office for made-up crimes.